This is Love Talk with Martis, the love coach. Where the truth needs to touch and the heart finds hope. Ooh. Love Talk with Martis, the love coach. Healing in the words, growing as you grow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love Talk.
Welcome back to another episode of Love Talk with Martis, the Love Coach. This podcast is where we share and have real conversations, real healing, and real love. As you know, it is Wednesday, which means it's another episode of Letters to the Love Coach. And y'all, these letters, they had me thinking. Because even though I'm only doing 3 letters, and they are completely different, but they're exactly the same, if that makes sense. Because when I sat down and read them, I realized that they all have one thing in common: taking a chance. Whether that's taking a chance on somebody new, taking a chance on somebody from your past, or just basically telling somebody how you felt. And sometimes taking a chance, even though you know there's a possibility that the answer might be no, is important. So today's episode is called, What If You Just Went For It? Like, what if you just sent the message? What if you just told them you missed them? What if you asked the question you're scared to ask? What if you admitted how you feel? What if you stopped trying to predict the outcome? And what if you simply just give yourself permission to find out? Because sometimes we talk ourselves out of things before we even have an opportunity to let it happen. Now, before I get into my spill, y'all know the vibes. Go grab your coffee, your tea, your water. Someone did ask, Martis, what do you drink when you tell us to go do that? I actually, I drink either black coffee, because I do 1 cup of black coffee a day, or water with mint leaves that I grow myself with lemon. But whatever your vibe is, let's go for it. Go grab your drink, get comfy, and let's talk about what ifs.
Love Talk. Got a journal in your hand, do the work on your own. Page by page, you ain't walking alone. From the ashes of the old, see a brand new you. Trust in the process, letting love come through. We talking boundaries, we talking grace. We talking falling for the right one in the right space. Real
All right, so we are here. And I want to first say, stop rejecting yourself first. So let me coach y'all before we get into these letters. One thing I see all the time is people rejecting themselves before the other person ever gets the opportunity to. And I need somebody listening today to stop doing that. You like somebody, but you say, they're probably already talking to somebody else. But how do you know? And then you say, I'm probably not their type. But did they tell you that? And then you say, they probably wouldn't be interested in someone like me. But based on what? I also hear they're too attractive. Okay. And you're attractive too. It's all about loving yourself. The problem is we reject ourselves first. We create an entire rejection story in our heads based on our conversations that we've never had with the other person. And sometimes that's not intuition, guys. That's insecurity. There is a difference. Sometimes we convince ourselves that we're protecting our feelings, but really, we're allowing our fear to make decisions for us. And I do understand why. Because who likes rejection? Nobody enjoys putting themselves out there and then hearing, I'm not interested, or you're not my type, or I'm seeing somebody, or even worse. You send them a message and then that little scene pops up and nothing comes behind it. Now that will humble you. But guess what? You'll be okay. It's life. Move on. Things happen. One thing I want everybody listening to understand is this. Someone not choosing you does not mean that there is something wrong with you. Sometimes you're simply not their person, and that's okay. Because everybody isn't supposed to choose you. Think about it. You don't want every person who approaches you. That doesn't mean you're not attractive. That doesn't mean you're ugly. That doesn't mean you're not worthy of love. That doesn't mean something's wrong with them. It simply means they're not the person for you. So why do we automatically turn rejection into I'm not good enough, or I'm not pretty, or I'm not sexy, or I'm not fine, or I'm not handsome? Maybe you're wonderful and you're simply not what that particular person is looking for. That is the dating world. And honestly, I'd rather know than spend 6 months creating a whole relationship with somebody in my imagination. Like, I would rather know that I'm not your person rather than in my head, we're meant. Okay? Because some of us have even dated physically a person in real life for 3 years, and then the other person don't even have the same feelings for them because maybe they started dating this person out of pity. I mean, who knows? I'm telling y'all the truth, okay? I am just being real. I am just being honest. Because confidence isn't knowing they'll say yes. Confidence is knowing you'll be okay if they say no. Okay, let me say that again. Confidence isn't knowing they'll choose you. It's knowing you'll still choose yourself if they don't. Now that's confidence. Because when you know who you are, you don't have to convince anybody to want you. You don't have to chase or beg, or you don't even have to perform. What you do is simply show some interest. And then, only then, you allow that person to show you whether that interest is mutual. Now that's healthy dating. And ladies, let me talk to y'all really quick, because I already know somebody listening is thinking, Martis, I'm old school. I'm not approaching no man. This is for my ladies or my men who may be into men. But listen, I'm telling you to not chase, okay? I'm never going to say chase anyone. There's a difference between showing interest and chasing. Sending somebody a message isn't chasing. Starting a conversation isn't chasing. Giving someone a compliment isn't chasing. Letting someone know that you're interested is not chasing. Chasing happens when they've shown you that they're not interested, or they show you that they see your messages and not responding, but you keep running behind them anyway. That's different. But opening that door, there's nothing wrong with that. You can open that door. And you can still allow them to decide whether they want to walk through it or not. It's your door. They don't walk through it, close it. Simple. I know it sounds simple, but it is. It's all about having that confidence in yourself. And this applies to old connections too. Maybe there's somebody you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe life happened. Maybe timing wasn't right. Maybe you both went your separate ways, and every once in a while you still think about them. And you wonder, do they ever think about me? Do they miss what we had? Could we ever connect? There's only so much thinking you can do, though, because eventually you've either had to accept that they're in their own path, they're living their own life, and you're just going to leave it alone, or you have to communicate, because your imagination cannot give you closure. Only reality can. And that reality might give you the answer you want. I'm just saying. Reality might tell you it's time to move forward, but either way, you finally know. So, before we get into letter number 1, I want everyone listening to think about this. What have you been afraid to do because you're afraid of the answer? Are you afraid to send the message? Ask somebody out? Tell somebody you miss them? Reconnect with somebody? Tell somebody how you truly feel? Or maybe finally ask where this relationship is actually going. Talking about marriage, children. And then ask yourself another question. Which would bother you more? So I want you to say, which would bother me more? The possibility of hearing no, or never knowing what could have happened? Ask yourself that. Because sometimes the answer isn't to think about what if in 6 months. Sometimes you just have to go for it. Now, that brings me perfectly to our very first letter. Because, loves, she's sitting here in Atlanta trying to decide what she should do here. And apparently, this man is fine. So At least this letter is a great topic to start off with, the topic that I chose to write about this week. All right, so let's get into it. So she says, "Hey Martis, I'm trying to decide if I should inbox this man. I have an interest in him on Facebook, but I hate rejection. He lives here in my city in Atlanta, but it's so many beautiful people here in Atlanta. I mean, I just know he could probably get any lady he wants. This dating world is driving me crazy at this point. LOL. Girl, if you don't inbox that man." No, I'm not telling you to send him a 5-paragraph essay about you've been watching him and his Facebook page and already picked out your wedding colors, or no, ma'am. I'm saying say hello. Because what stood out to me wasn't it that you liked him. It was, there's so many beautiful people in Atlanta. He could probably get any lady he wants. But girl, you're already competing with women who aren't even in the room that you're in. You don't know what this man wants. You don't know what he's attracted to. You don't even know whether he's dating somebody. And you definitely don't know whether he might be interested in you. So don't reject yourself on his behalf. Let me give you a love gem. You do not have to be the most beautiful person in the room to be the person that somebody wants to connect with. Attraction is more than looks. It's personality, it's energy, it's humor, it's conversation, it's confidence, it's chemistry. And sometimes people can have 100 options and still be drawn to one particular person. Give him that opportunity to decide. But then you say, what if he rejects me? What if he does? I'm not going to pretend like rejection doesn't hurt, because it does. I mean, I've been rejected. Whether it's a job, a person, a friend, or whatever. But somebody not being interested in you doesn't mean you're unattractive or unworthy or undesirable. It simply means you were not their person. And that wasn't your person. Remember, confidence isn't knowing somebody will say yes. Confidence is knowing you will still be okay if they say no. That's the energy I want you to have. So what should you say when you inbox him? Because you're going to inbox him. So keep it simple. Something like, "Hey, I've seen you on Facebook a few times and you seem interesting, so I figured I'd finally say hello. How are you?" That's it. I mean, you open that door. Now let him show you whether he wants to walk through it. If he's engaging, ask questions. Keep the conversation going. Great. But you're not sending a paragraph. You don't want to. If you're sending a paragraph and all you're getting back is LOL, yeah, okay, girl, that's your answer, we got our answer. If you're sending that particular statement like, "Hey, I figured I'd say hello, how are you?" and his only response is good, and then you say something else like, "Well, I'm interested, I would love to get to know you more," and his response is okay, that's it. You got your answer. I mean, either he's not a talkative person or he's shy himself. And if you feel like the conversation is worth exploring, do it. But if he's giving you like short-ended, closed-ended answers, you got your answer. Don't turn yourself into an interviewer trying to force a connection. Do not. Making the first move doesn't mean you have to make every move after that. He has to show interest. I mean, she has to show interest. He has to show interest. Watch whether that interest is returned. And please understand this. A woman showing interest isn't desperate. Sending a message isn't chasing. Chasing is continuing to pursue someone after they showed you they don't want to be pursued. Remember, I said that. Those are two totally, completely different things. So my Atlanta love, send the message, be yourself, don't overthink it, and don't go into thinking, what if he rejects me? Ask yourself, what if he doesn't? What if he noticed you too? What if the conversation is so amazing that y'all end up having a date the very same day? You won't know unless you make the first move. And sometimes that first move could be the only move that you need to open up a door to a beautiful love. Now, letter number 2 takes us somewhere a little different. Because when what happens when you don't want to meet somebody new? Like you want another chance at somebody from your past. Can you rekindle what you once had? All right, so our letter number 2 says, how do you show someone you haven't seen in a while that you miss them and you want to see them and you want to rekindle the relationship that we had and keep it that way? Okay, first of all, I think sometimes we make this harder than it needs to be. If you miss somebody, tell them. You don't have to write a long emotional paragraph. You don't have to pour your entire heart out in the first message. You simply say something, hey, I've been thinking about you lately. I really miss the connection we had, and I love to see you sometimes to catch up if you're open to it. That's it. You're being honest without putting pressure on them. You're being honest without jumping to conclusions. Because remember, you can tell somebody how you feel without demanding that they feel the same way. And that's actually one of the healthiest forms of vulnerability. Now you also said that you want to rekindle the relationship and keep it that way. That's where I want you to slow down. Before you think about keeping the relationship, first find out whether both of you actually want to rebuild it. Have that conversation. See each other. Find out if they are emotionally available for you. And if you both want to try that again, then talk about it. What would need to be different this time? Because rekindling sometimes or something isn't just about saying, I miss you. It's also asking, what will we need to do differently for this to actually work this time? Now, that's a grown-up conversation. Thank you so much for writing in. I hope my advice helps. So let's get into our third letter, which I feel like goes perfectly with letter number 2. So it says, what if you once had an undeniable connection with someone and it was once upon a time? Is there a chance of getting things back to that point? And my answer is yes. There is absolutely a chance. But I want to change the question a little bit, right? So instead of asking, can we get back to what we had, ask, can the people we are today build something even better? Because depending on how much time has passed, you're different. They're different. Life has happened, and hopefully both of you have grown, matured. So I wouldn't necessarily want the old relationship back. I want to know whether we can create a healthier new relationship together. But remember why it ended. That's important. Before you reopen an old door, remember why you closed it or why she closed it. Was it bad timing? Was it distance? Was it life circumstances? Poor communication? Was it cheating? Disrespect? Manipulation? Something unhealthy? Because missing somebody can make your memory very selective. Suddenly you're remembering the dates, the kisses, the laughs, the late night conversations, but conveniently you forgot why y'all stopped talking. Remember, the whole relationship matters from your past. The whole relationship. Because sometimes you don't miss the person, you miss the feeling you had when things were good. Now that's a difference. Now, if you decide to reconnect, if you both decide you're interested, take your time. Don't have one good conversation and announce, we're back. Like, you're my man, you're my woman. Don't do that. Calm down. Get to know each other again. Because what you're going to discover is, wow, we've both grown so much. Or you may discover, I love who you were then, but who are you today? Like, does it really fit with who I am? And that's okay too. Not every connection is supposed to become a relationship. Not every reconnection is supposed to become a relationship. Sometimes reconnecting gives you closure. Sometimes it gives you friendship. And sometimes, a lot of times, it gives love a second chance. So, to both of these letter writers, I'll leave you with this. Don't try to recreate what was. Find out what's possible now. Reach out. Have that conversation. Be honest about how you feel. And then let that person show you where they stand. Because the answer might be, I've been missing you too. Or it might be, I've moved on. Either way, you finally have something more valuable than wondering. You have clarity. You have closure. And that brings us right back to today's question. What if you just went for it? Sometimes taking that chance leads to love. Sometimes it leads to closure. But either way, we finally free up some living space inside. What if? What if you just went for it? Before we close today's episode, I want to bring all three of these letters together because whether you're thinking about messaging somebody new, reaching out to somebody you miss, or wondering whether an old connection deserves another chance, there's one thing all three situations require, and that's courage. Not knowing what is going to happen and then be willing to take a healthy chance anyway. I think sometimes we forget that dating requires vulnerability. You cannot completely protect yourself from rejection, and that is okay. Okay, at some point, somebody has to say, hey. Somebody has to admit, I like you. Somebody has to say, I miss you. Somebody has to say, would you like to go on a date sometime? And yes, sometimes the answer would be no. But sometimes the answer will be, I've been waiting for you to ask. Now, please don't let fear make all of your dating decisions. Don't let fear date for you. Because fear will tell you, don't message them. Don't tell them how you feel. Don't trust anybody. Don't try it again. Don't put yourself out there. And before you know it, you protected yourself from rejection. But you've also protected yourself from possibility. Now, I'm not telling you to ignore red flags. I'm not telling you to chase unavailable people. And I'm not telling you to reopen doors that were unhealthy. I'm saying when something feels healthy and when the opportunity is there, when you genuinely are interested in someone, give yourself permission to explore it. Because you deserve more than just an imaginary relationship and unanswered what ifs. So y'all know y'all have to have some homework. Of course, it's always a challenge. I want you to think about one healthy chance you've been afraid to take. I mean, maybe it's sending a message. Maybe it's accepting a date or telling someone you're interested or asking someone what they're looking for in a spouse. Maybe it's finally saying, I like you, but I need to know where this is going. Whatever yours is, I want you to stop asking what if it goes wrong and at least consider what if it goes right. And speaking of taking chances, I've been keeping something from y'all. Okay. All these letters I keep getting about dating. Where do I meet somebody? Should I message him? Should I message her? Dating apps are driving me crazy. It's hard out here. Y'all keep telling me it's hard. I mean, I know that, right? And apparently, as a love coach, as a relationship coach, as a life coach, I've decided, fine, I'll help. So I'm officially working on something new. It's called First Dates with Martis, the love coach. Now, what it is it's a virtual blind date experience where I'm going to bring two singles together online who have never met. And so they don't even have to live in the same city. Atlanta can meet Charlotte, New York can meet South Carolina, Texas can meet California. I mean, wherever you are. If you're open to a genuine connection, I want to hear from you. I'll make the matchup. I'll bring you together for your virtual first date. I'll do everything behind the scenes. And we're going to see this happen live. No pressure, no forced relationships, no embarrassing anybody, just real people, real conversations, real connections. And maybe, just maybe, a little love. So, if you're single, you're emotionally available, you're genuinely interested in meeting someone, and you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone, I want to hear from you. Please share this with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Send your inquiry to ceo@martisthelovecoach.com. That's my email. Tell me a little about yourself, where you're located, what you're looking for. Once you send me an email, I'm going to send you a jot form. And you're going to fill that out. That way I can perfectly align you. I want to know why you're thinking of taking a chance on a virtual blind date. And don't worry, we're going to talk about how it works step by step. But for now, I'm looking for my first set of singles. And who knows? I mean, a year from now, somebody might be listening to an episode saying, that's how we met. Martis got us together. Wouldn't that be something? I would love that. I mean, there are couples that are together because of me, and I love that for me. All right, so let's get into our affirmations. Y'all know the vibes. Let's go ahead and do our breathing. Slow things down, calm our nerves. So let's take a deep breath in. And exhale. All right, I want you to repeat these after me. I am open to healthy possibilities. Rejection does not determine my worth. I have the courage to communicate honestly. I don't have to chase what is meant to meet me halfway. I release the fear of not being chosen. I choose myself regardless of someone else's decision. I give myself permission to see what happens. Whew. All right. So, my love, sometimes the greatest opportunities in our lives begins with something as small as, hey. So, send that message, have that conversation, ask that question. And while and when it's healthy, inappropriate, take that chance. You never know what could be waiting on the other side of your courage. Now, thank you for joining me for another beautiful episode, Love Letters to Martis the Love Coach. If you have a question, a situation, love dilemma, you want anything you have a question about, I am here. Send your letters. Send me your inquiries to my email for my blind dating. And if you know anyone who would want to be considered for first dates with Martis, the email is ceo@martisthelovecoach.com. That's martisthelovecoach.com. Until next time, keep choosing love, keep choosing growth, keep choosing healing, and never forget that a healthy love starts with a healthy you. I'm Martis the Love Coach, and I will see y'all next time. I love y'all.
Love talk, Martis the Love Coach, where the truth meets the touch, and the heart finds hope. Love talk, Martis the Love Coach, healing in the words, growing as you grow. Yeah, yeah. Love talk. Press play, breathe in. Let the wisdom settle in where you've been. Every scar teacher, every tear a guide. Real love starts the moment you stop trying to hide. Love talk, tune in, fall in, rise up. Yeah, this is love. Yeah, this is love.